Well, these things are crap. If you've ever used them, it's a month into the season. The tomatoes way taller than the cage, and they're no good. I'm gonna show you how to fix that. Alright, now I want to first say this will be the third year I've done this one. So I know it works. At this point it's proven, it's good. I know it works out. Okay? This is what I'm using for tomato steaks. And this one, my single seed tomato, it's already strung up. What I do is I put a little S hook, and I just made it out of an old clothes hanger that I wasn't using. Put it up in the top, okay? And then I tie a string around the bottom. Wrap it around the tomato. Then I make a loop in my string and I just hang it on the hook, okay? Now, tomato keep vining all summer. We all know it. But with this, if you'll notice, I've left myself a bunch of extra string. Okay? All I gotta do as the summer wears on, the tomato gets up a little tall and it gets to bothering me, hard to reach it, or, you know, whatever reason, I need it shorter. I don't want to run out of steak. I just keep wrapping that string around that tomato, make a loop a little further up that string, and I unhook it and lower it down, hang it back on the hook. Folks, let me tell you, it works. I've done this now for like 3 years, and you don't run out of string. You don't run out of tomato steak. First year I gardened out here in this garden, I used tomatoes. And I cut about, it was an 8-foot tomato, and I think I cut a foot or so off the end and made it pointed, and I drove them into the ground. I thought, boy, I've got good long stakes now. I'm going to be good. And I tied them to the stakes. Now I like to do a single stem tomato. All right? I take all the little suckers off. I don't want them. I don't want to make 30 tomatoes a day. What I want is a couple, 3 nice big ones. Okay? That's what I'm shooting for. So a single stem works best for me. And with this system, it can keep vining all summer long. And I can keep lowering it on down. And the tomato stem will just curl around on the ground. Now you need to be careful the first time or two that you lower it so that it spins and it doesn't kink. But I've never had one kink. So, you know, while I technically know it's possible, I haven't seen it happen. Okay? And by doing this, and you don't have to use, I'm using conduit, and it's put over top of an electric fence post. One of the little rebar posts with the little baffle on it. They're like $2 a piece. You know, they're easy to drive into your soft garden soil. And I just slip a piece of conduit over it. I'm ready to go. Make me a little hook for the end. We're all good. But you don't have to use that, okay? The second time that I used that same set of tuba tubes was last year. Because I rotate. Tomatoes is in this bed this year. Next year they'll be in one of the beds behind me, and then to the last bed, and then they'll be back to the center bed. Well, last year they were back in the center bed. The 2x2s were still there. So what I did is I just put a little nail in the top of each one. That way I could hook my string over the nail, run them all summer long. I had them all curled around on the stems, all curled around on the ground. Worked fine. In fact, in a garden that isn't mulched, or even if it's mulched, you could pull the mulch back. You could tuck that stem up under, put the mulch back over the top of it, hit it a root, and you'd be back to you'd be going strong. Maybe better off than you were to start with. So that's just one thing, one way to handle it. There's more than one way to do things, folks. Now, I will tell you a mistake I made, okay? 2 years ago, when I tried using conduit the first time, I used a piece of rebar. And I got a piece of rebar down from the lumber yard, and I took my angle grinder and I cut it into lengths, like so. Drove them down into the ground and slid the conduit over. It fit pretty tight. In fact, I had to take a file to the top of a couple of them because it mushroomed out a little bit and then the conduit wouldn't go over. So that's what I did. Well, they were in that bed last year and they weren't used. I went to pull them up this year and that rebar was frozen inside that conduit, rusted into it. So don't do that. Don't make that mistake. If you're gonna do a piece of conduit like I have, it's fairly inexpensive, You could use some moderate-sized plastic pipe, something that's got enough stiffness that it's going to stand up straight. In fact, really, that might be the best thing to use. But you could use that. Any number of combinations of things you could put this system together. Just as long as it's up at a comfortable height and you can put a little something on it that you can hook that string over, you're golden. And like I say, this year I had some electric fence posts in the garage that I wasn't using. I had extras. So it was handy, it was easy. Just went and grabbed them, off we went. So all right, that is the never-ending tomato steak. That's what I'm going to call it, because it doesn't matter how long or how tall that tomato gets, you never run out of steak. Well, okay, I'm going to take the camera, I'm going to show you one more thing, and then we'll let you go. All right, it was only about 3 days ago that we were out here, and I'm trying to see, and right there, look at that asparagus. And I've got another one over here. And there's a couple, 3 smaller ones. Now, when they're this size, I doubt if I'll cut them. But, my God, these are good size. And that's only maybe 3 crowns out of, I think there's 8 of them in here. So, we got more coming, folks. All right. I want you all to have a quality day.